Hello everybody, this is Phil Willits. I'm going to do a watercolour portrait of my granddaughter Amelia. It's quite a baby sort of face, obviously she's only 3 years old. That photograph isn't the best one, to be honest with you, because there isn't a lot of shadow. Now I'm going to use this watercolour paper. It's Blockingford watercolour paper and it's 200 pound pressure in weight. That's a thick sort of paper. It's sort of a knot finish. They do say it's a rough finish, but I think it's more of a knot finish. I prefer Blockingford because you haven't really got to stretch it. I found that particularly with this thickness you haven't got to stretch it. Okay, well let's start. I'm going to use that pencil, which is a Blackwing pencil, quite a soft one, and we'll start now doing the sketch of Amelia's face. Right, I'm going to start round. I want it to be about that size. And I'll check it using the pencil, the point of the pencil, and where my thumb goes to check to see where her eyes are. There. So, actual fact, I'm going to find out where the middle is. It's there. So the middle is where the brow is, there. So I'll just do that now. If we go to that height, and I'll just roughly where that is. Okay, it's about there. So that's where the brow is. So the eyes will be down here somewhere. And making sure that that I've got it right. They're sort of fairly perpendicular, which is what that is, maybe a little bit like that. And you normally find that where the hairline is, that's the length. From there is a third, and then the third of the nose. I always have a tendency to make the nose too long, so I've got to be careful of that, but I reckon it's about there. And the mouth somewhere like that. Maybe a little bit less than that. So we've got now the basic shape of the face. And centre. Okay, again, let's see where the centre of that face is on this photograph. So it's somewhere there. Okie dokie, so let's do that then. Somewhere there then. Quite surprising how important it is to check different sizes and different measurements, because it's quite surprising how wrong even the most expert artists can get wrong. So that actual fact, the halfway of the head. Actual fact, I don't want the hair. I want to find the halfway of the actual. Yeah, it is about there. I nearly made a mistake there. It is about there. There to there. So it's around about there. Let's check it. So it's somewhere there. So I'm going to put the eye in now. We'll put the eye about so it goes up, round, and then down. That comes down there, and then we go round, trying to keep it not too much of a sketch. and the eye is there. So if we use that now as our base, if you like, of operations. Now the eye, being a child, normally the eye length is the same from there to there, but being a child is always wider. So we'll go on from there. So it's about there, about there. So we'll start again here. Now that one comes round. I'll make sure I join them all together like that. Now it goes round and down there like so. I don't like, a lot of people do a drawing and then they trace it on the watercolour paper, which is probably a good idea because you don't really want to make too many lines or corrections using the rubber. Now I prefer this rubber. It's actually very cheap and it was from Staples, and you can use it like that and just extend it, and I find this incredibly good. So I use that one. I find the other rubbers can leave a mark. Now then that goes there, and then I'm just following that. You can see that part there, and that goes along there like so. That then comes there. There is a slight there. I'm going to draw that as well. There's a little white patch there, and there's a little white patch there. And I'm going to use the pencil a bit like this now. Try to get a little bit more accurate. When I sketch, I always find it's best like that, but to get a little bit more accurate, I always go like that. There's a little tiny bit of a line there. It goes there like so. Round there. And that goes there. Now I'm going to check the length of that. If we go straight along there, which is about that, and we go down, that's the length of the nose. So we go along there, it's about that. Now how am I out with that? Yeah, I am. I said I make the nose too long, don't I? There, that goes up to there, down to there, follow that through. I don't want to put too many lines in. What I'm going to do, when I've done this sketch, I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and then come back. I think that's always a good thing because you can always see mistakes that you have missed. Again, that there is to that. It's to there. That's about right. I was right with that one. And then we'll go for the eye again. That's the nose. That's there. So that's in between that. Children's cheeks are always big. The eyebrow is there, very faint eyebrow. Thanks, June. Right. Let's just rub that line out there. No, I think that's wrong actually. It goes to there, it's too long. Okay, I'm going to leave that at that and then come back and check the different sizes to make sure that it's okay. Right, so I'm going to leave it now for a bit and then we'll start the watercolour section. Let's come back and I've created, that was the original line. In actual fact, I've just checked the sizes and her head is quite high. It looks too high actually, but according to the measurements it's fine. I've redone the nose and the lips and the cheeks I hadn't quite got fat enough. So we're all ready now to go and start the watercolour section of this demonstration. And we're going to now have a look at what watercolours we're going to use. Right, these are the colours that I'm going to use. I probably won't use all of them. The brush is number 10. Number 10. Number 7 and a number 5. There's a worn out number 6 which I may use as well. And the colours are cad red, burnt cinnamon, permanent rose, Oriane yellow. That is hooker's green. We probably won't use that, and we probably won't. That one's cad yellow, but I don't know whether I will use that one. And Naples yellow, cerulean blue, cad blue, and there's two colours here, mauve and Windsor violet, and then there's raw cinnamon, and this one is natural tint. So those are the two colours, cadmium red and cadmium yellow, but I don't think I'll be using those. So let's mix a few colours to start with, and the first colour I want to do is making sure it's all nice, is Oriane yellow. So we'll put that there, put a bit more. And I'll put a bit more over here. And the skin tones are going to be permanent rose. So it's quite a strong colour. And then with this one I'm going to mix those two colours up together, which is Windsor violet and mauve, and add that with that. Very strong colour. And then for the shadows I shall use cerulean blue to one side, and probably add to it like that. Okay, well those are the main colours that we're going to use, and so let's now get on with the painting. Right, let's start putting the colour on. Now I'm going to put a bit of water on these sections so that they will blend in. As I said, the problem with the photograph, there isn't an awful lot of shadow, so it's going to be a little tricky. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Permanent Rose and Oriane to start with, just a tiny bit. I'm going to put that on. We can blend up into the hair because it's blonde, although blonde is important to make sure that that a lot of the white is still left in the paper. So coming down, and I'll blend this here, and I want to lift a little bit of that, bring that around, tiny little bit of cerulean blue, just dab it there, and also mauve. A little bit under the hair really. Carry on a bit more, because we've got to try to make sure that it is baby flesh, because she's a very young little girl. Okay, trying not to lift the brush off. I think I'll use some Permanent Rose and a raw cinnamon. I didn't include that in the mix, but that's quite a nice mix. Get the okay. Bring that round. And then into there. Now I'm going to have to let that dry before we go any further. What I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to add a little bit of background colour, and I want it to be fairly loose. So what I'm going to do is put some cerulean and also use some mauve or Windsor violet and see what that looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'll put a bit of blue in the background there, like so, just to help it while this other part is drying. And I'll put a tiny little bit of mauve in as well, down there. Oh, that is strong, isn't it? That is strong. Wipe some of it away. And we'll blend this in to the cerulean blue. Add a little bit more cerulean just in here. Make it a bit looser. That's nice. Quite like that. And we'll go put the cerulean around there too. Into that. And a tiny little bit. In actual fact, I'm going to use a little bit of Permanent Rose, because the mauve is a little bit too much. That's better. And we'll go into that like so. Okay, that's not a bad sort of very loose background. And I may blend the hair into this background too. A lot of great watercolorists do that. I think Charles Reed does that. Blend the background in to the hair. Right, well that's not bad. It's nice, it's drying nicely. Just a touch, I'm blending that in there. I like that. And I may have to lift a tiny bit there up. A lot of people don't like lifting watercolour, but I think it's quite a good thing to do to a certain extent. You can lift parts of it while it's still a little bit wet. Okay, I think I'm going to have to let that dry now, so we'll have to leave that to dry and we'll come back to that in a minute or two. Right, it's now dry enough, so we'll start again. Not happy with that, so let's get another, maybe this is too small, number 7. Brush and try and build a little bit on there, try to remove all the hard edges. A bit of light there. Down here a little bit. She's actually got a little bit of dark underneath the eyes, believe it or not. Anyway, that's better. Quite like that, that's not bad at all. Now we will carry on, and what I want to do is put a little bit of shade under there, and it goes under here and then under there. The same with that one, there's a little bit there, round there, and under where the nostrils are. And now I want to blend that in. Blend it into nothing. Move that out the way. And again there. That's a little bit, you notice that's a little bit light there, so we need to try to keep that. And that round there. And that little bit underneath there. Right, it's not bad. I'll just do a little tiny bit here too, just put a dab there. As I say, it's a bit of a problem in one sense because there's very little shadow on this to help. So it's very subtle. Putting a very little bit of colour here and there. So it's quite tricky, to be honest with you. Now I'm going to put a little bit of dark here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wet that first so that it will sort of hopefully blend in. And I'm going to put a bit of wet there too. So you wet it first with clear water, and I'm just going to put, using a mixture of permanent rose, Oriane and mauve. Actually, in fact, it may not be mauve, it might be Windsor Violet. And we'll just dab a little bit here, just under there, and just there, just a tiny bit just there, and I'll blend all that in. Blend that there like so, wiping the brush, just a damp brush, and let's just blend that in. Actually, in fact, that's quite a hard edge because there is reflected light there, but not all that much. Okay, blend that into nothing. Blend it in slightly, give it a bit of a lost edge. Right, well that's not too bad now. What I'm going to do is put it ever such a slight touch just in there. Give that a bit of a colour. Probably a little bit more actually. Okay. Right. The next thing I am going to put a little bit of permanent rose and mauve, because I'm using that mainly for the shadow. Really just a touch, actually in fact, maybe, and just under there a little bit. Blend that in as well. Okay, it's not bad. Now on the drawing there is a bit of hair there, and I would like to put that in. So I'm going to lift that little bit out there, where the hair hopefully will come through. As I say, I don't mind lifting a little bit of colour out if necessary. I notice there's a slight light area there, and I'm going to just lift that slightly. You've got to be careful, because it can give a bit of a hard edge. I have got a bit of a hard edge there, but in actual fact on the photograph you can see a bit of a hard edge there too. What I'm going to do also is just put a tiny bit of colour there. And just a tiny bit of colour there. And just there. And I'm blending it in. I'll start with this one. Like so. That one will do a bit as well. Adding a bit of water to blend it in. And then this top part. There. Right. Let's just have a look and see about the eyes, I think. Now then, very, very light, the eyebrows, as all children are. And Amelia's is very close to where the eyes are. So I'll just put a dab here. And I'll just put a dab here. And we'll just blend that in. When you add more water, in watercolour, it becomes very faint, and maybe that's too faint, but we'll see. I can always put some more in it if necessary. Right, okay, let's have a look at the eyes now. Now she's got blue eyes, but there is a tint of green. So what I'll do is I'll mix a little bit of cerulean blue, and I'll put also a tiny touch of Hooker's green, and I'll see what that looks like. I think that probably is it. I'm on my own with the camera, so I'm afraid you can't see me mixing that up, but I don't know whether you can see that, but there it is. I've just mixed it up there. Right, okay, so now I'm going to just put dabs in. I want to leave some white. I don't want to make them great blobs. I want to leave a little bit of the light in them. So I'm just touching and removing the brush or the paint around. And I'm leaving that. And it will dry awfully lot lighter than that. So I'm not, you may think that it's a bit powerful, but it isn't actually. Also, the shadow round those eyes, it isn't very dark, and so I think we'll carry on with this permanent rose and raw cinnamon that I've got mixed up there. I'll put a tiny bit more raw cinnamon in, and we'll have a look at that. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of detail there, really blend, and I'm hoping that if I want it to bleed into the eye there, and we'll go around there like so. Now that might be a little bit strong, but we'll have to see. And down there, like so. So just want it to bleed in the eye. And it is doing, which is good. Lift that slightly. There is a tiny little bit of line there, and I know I've got a pencil mark there, and some people don't like that, but I don't mind that. I don't mind pencils. I think it's part of the watercolour, to be honest with you. I think it's part of the watercolour. So I'm going to move that a little tiny bit, bring that round. That's it, that's better. That's better. Right, we'll just blend that in there. Put a tiny bit there and blend that colour in there. I don't want to be too fussy, and I am starting to fiddle a little bit, I know. That's not, put that there. That's better. That's not looking too bad actually. I'm quite pleased with that. Now then, I want to tiny little bit of red where that eye is. Just there. And a tiny little bit of red there, right in the middle of where the eye is. And bring that round like so. Right. As I say, I don't want to go too fussy with this. and I want it to be a little bit loose. I want to just put a dab there, because that's disappeared, the one that I put in. Now the lips, funnily enough, she's got quite real red lips. It's almost like a permanent rose, and that was going to be too much, I think. But we'll just do it. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to put the top lip in, like so, and then I'm just going to drag the rest, right, with the brush down over it, over the other lip. If you don't do that, they look like as if they're stuck on. I probably have got, actual fact, I probably should have tried to have rubbed some of the pencil marks off, but still, there you go, that'll have to do. Now that's sticking up too much, so let's blend that in. And blend that little bit of a corner there as well. And that's not bad. I may put a little bit of dark colour there. Now I've got a little tiny mix of alizarin crimson. I didn't say I was going to use that, and ultramarine, and I'm going to use that for, and here it is on here again. There it is. It's a very dark colour, and I'm just going to dab where the pupil is in that eye, like there, and that one there. Okay. What does that look like? Blend that in there. Blend that in there. Okay, right. To be honest with you, there isn't an awful lot left to do. I'm going to just put a bit there, and I'm going to put a tiny bit there and there. Perhaps next time I'll try and find a photograph with more shadow in it. It'll make it a little bit easier. Okay, that's all right. That's okay. Right, now then, a little tiny bit of dark there. Is that dry? Well, probably I'll risk it a little bit. Let's just see, will it blend in? I better remove that. It looks as if she's got a rotten teeth. Okay. Well, now I think I would have liked to have lifted that a little bit. I don't know whether I can, just a touch. Let's get a bit of a decent bit more clean kitchen roll. I don't know whether I can. Oh, right, that's not bad. All right, okay. Well, that's it at the moment. Now we'll have a look at the hair. I use a bigger brush for the hair. And I do want to blend the hair into the background if I can. And so what I'll do now is I'm going to use a little bit of raw cinnamon. People say never use yellow for hair, and I suppose raw cinnamon is a sort of a yellow. I have got a little bit of burnt umber which I might use too. Now then, let's just see. If I put that there's a couple of pieces of hair around there. So we'll bring that round. Like so. bring that round there. Use the roughness of the paper to give it a bit of round here. And I'm going to use that there, hopefully blend it in. I said about you leaving the white paper, it's difficult actually. Blonde hair is difficult, to be honest with you, to do. You're always tempted to add a little bit here and there, and it doesn't always work. Now I'm going to add a little tiny touch of darker colour there in the hair. Again, the favourite. Mauve and Oriane. And I'm going to add a little bit just there too. And a little bit here. And a little bit here. Flick it here and there. Put that over there like so. And I want to put that there. And I want that blended into the background. And should I, dare I, use a little bit of green in that? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I'll do it. I'll whisk it. Just there. Just there where the shadow is. And just a little bit down there. This is Hooker's Green and Cerulean Blue, by the way. Just a tiny bit. And just down there. Okay. A little bit of raw cinnamon on that to darken it up a bit. Okay, well, the next, I think, really is the skirt and the cardigan. And we'll do that. I'll put a little bit here with the cardigan. And we'll do that round here. I'm flicking on something I shouldn't be. I'm going to put a bit here. And down there. Okay. I'm going to put a tiny bit of shadow. There's a couple of shadows in there, isn't there? Like so. Put that down there. Let it all bleed into it. I don't want to be too fussy. And a bit of the shadow there and down there. Okay. See if what that looks like. And now we'll do the dress, which is actually, in actual fact, it's cerulean and again mauve. Blend it down. I don't want to make this too prominent, to be honest with you, because actual fact it's the face that we want to okay, right, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to blend that into that, and I am probably, dare I do it, am I going to make a mock-up of it? I don't know. Let's just try and put a little bit more colour in there. This is burnt umber with a little bit of mauve and a little bit there. And down there. Okay. Okay, have I... I'm putting a little bit of raw cinnamon with that actually. I think it's a bit too dark, too coloured. And I'm going to leave it at that. Dry brushwork there. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Dare I do, I keep on saying I'm going to leave it, and then I'll put a bit just there and blend that in, and then that's it. Okay, well I'm going to let that dry now, and we'll come back and we'll have a look and see what we think, or what I think. I don't think I probably should have done that. Anyway, we'll let that dry, and then I'll come back and see what we think. Right, let's finish off. It's a lot lighter there than I've got it, and I want to try and lift that off if I can. I'm going to light it up a little bit, and I'm going to use a sponge to remove the majority of the colour from that, if I can. That's better, that's better. Because she is it's a very light patch there. That's better. And I'm going to also put some colour around where her shoulder is, because it looks as if it's she's sort of leaning over a bit, and I might and blend it into that. Blend it into that. That's nice. Put a little bit more colour in certain areas, down there. And also just here. I am going to and I am going to darken that as well. A bit of tissue. I've also scratched I'll show you. I wet some of those patches. And I've got my nail and just scratched it out. That's quite a useful tip, really. There's a little bit there. I can put some clear water on and it will scratch it out to a certain extent there. Probably ought to wait a little bit more. Okay, now then what I'm going to do also is he's got a little bit more of a colour here, and that looks a little bit bland, to be honest. So I just want to dab a tiny bit there. Get that in there, like so. It's a bit better. That there. Again, really wants to be a bit darker just there. Can I do that with that colour? I don't know. Right, okay. Well, I think that's about it. I'll just add a little bit here. And fiddle though, this is the trouble. I think it's not too bad. As I say, it's difficult when you've got an awful, not too much shadow to help with it. Blend that a little bit there. Blend that in a bit there. And that there. Right, okay, well I think that's about it. So I hope that's been a help to you. It's not too bad. Maybe the eyes are a little bit too powerful. But I am fiddling now, aren't I? Okay, well I hope that's been useful for you, and don't forget to subscribe if you like this, and if you do like it, maybe you'll tell some of your friends about me and the website. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you again. I'll leave you with a closer picture of the actual watercolor. Thank you.